prosperity now. Tim, thank you very much for joining us. So give us your first reactions. The bill just passed.
Well, I think that there are a lot of members saying, why are we rushing this? Why are we doing this? Why do we have this self-imposed 4th of July deadline? And I think the answer is it's not business as usual in Washington, D.C. I think President Trump, Speaker Johnson, and Leader Thune are absolutely serious about changing Washington, D.C. And this shows it, because now we got to go to work and we got to go fix the things that weren't in this bill. It's a great bill, $4 trillion of relief for the taxpayers. It's huge, but we got more work to do. And now we've got a lot more time to do that because they went to work and got it done.
Okay, what does this bill mean for the American people, for the economy? Lawmakers saying that it's going to provide growth, and on the other side, not so much. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's absolutely going to cause growth, because remember what this does. It makes permanent the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, which sparked incredible plus 3% growth that we saw during the first Trump administration, low inflation during the first Trump administration, a regulatory burden that would help us grow as well. These are the kind of things that it does. It solidifies that, giving businesses the ability to plan long-term now that this is permanent. It's no longer, I have to get this in right now because who knows what's going to happen in 10 years. This is permanent now. This is what is a part of the American fabric. And I'll also say this, it's not just the tax rates. It's also the expensing, the permanent expensing. Now businesses can buy machinery, they can buy equipment, they can buy all sorts of big expensive purchases now without having to, with full deduction. That's a big deal for companies. And I think that that's a huge spark that's going to cause a lot of growth. It's going to cause jobs, and it's going to cause so many jobs. I think we're going to need to figure out the employment situation, because we're going to need a lot more employees to fill the jobs that's going to come from the growth.
Okay, can we talk a bit about the debt that is part of this bill? That's including the raising of the debt ceiling, as well as the CBO estimating trillions added to the national debt. How are you looking at that?
Well, I look at it in the way of, if you accept the premise, then yeah, you have to accept that there is going to be trillions of dollars of deficit added. The problem with that, though, is that the CBO's score is fundamentally wrong. What they did was they assumed that over the next 10 years, there's only going to be 1.8% in growth. Well, the problem with that is over the last 50 years, we've averaged 2.8% in growth. So you're leaving out $1 trillion or $2 trillion right there from their score. So it's flawed to begin with. It's called static scoring. They're not scoring the growth and the inevitability that you're going to see businesses investing. You're going to see companies moving to America or back to America and hiring more people, building factories, automating, doing those things that help businesses make money. And therefore, if businesses make money, they pay more taxes, and that revenue comes back to the federal government. So I just fundamentally disagree with the CBO score. I think it's flawed from the very, very start, saying that 1.8% growth is what we're going to see over the next 10 years. No way.
And Tim, as well, it was kind of entertaining to watch in some form or other House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries taking the floor for over 8 hours, breaking a record, mind you. What do you think of that? What is his strategy?
Yeah, well, look, I mean, Leader McCarthy did that, did about I think he did an 8.5-hour floor speech in a similar bill. I can't remember which one it was, but Jeffries was doing the same thing. He had that power to do that, to make his stand. The one thing that stood out to me, and I listened to a bunch of it, the one thing that stood out to me was that he invoked his Christian faith as a reason to not support this bill. And I just fundamentally disagreed with that premise. I mean, you saw Speaker Johnson and a lot of the Republicans in caucus gathering on the floor of the House last night, praying together over the bill. I would argue praying to the same God that Hakeem Jeffries prays to. And I think that that is a fundamental flaw that we have to put aside in the dialogue that we're seeing here. We're arguing politics. We're arguing policy here. We're not arguing faith and religion. And I want to caution Americans who witness that to take a look inside and realize that this is not about faith. This is not about whether or not you're going to see God in the eyes and be judged by this bill. This is about policy. This is about representing the American people and what they put you in office to do. And we had a mandate. We saw a mandate in November, and that is what the Republicans were doing, was responding to that mandate. It had nothing to do with faith. So that was the one thing that stood out to me that just did not set right.
And Tim, give us your comments on how this helps Americans be safer. How does it secure the border?
Yeah, look, it is an incredible feat what just happened here. If you just look at the border provisions, think about this. Do you remember back in Trump's first term when we had to claw and fight and cajole and do everything possible to get $5 billion to put toward the border? Well, now we've got close to $50 billion. That's $50 billion for border security. We're talking detention centers. We're talking finishing that big, beautiful wall that President Trump used to talk about. We're talking about potentially opening up more legal process and procedure to process illegal aliens and remove them quicker. This is an incredible feat. It's an incredible thing. And I think that there's a huge pat on the back for this to the Republican leaders who just passed this bill for our border security.
And Tim, just to wrap up, Steve Scalise was talking earlier saying this is President Trump's Make America Great Again codified into this bill. Do you agree with that?
Well, absolutely I do, because Make America Great Again means America continues to be the leader of the free world, continues to promote the freedom and prosperity that we have been so blessed to have, at least throughout my entire lifetime, through my parents' lifetime. And that comes through ensuring that Americans keep more of their money and government keeps less of it. And that's what's going to happen when we sign this bill into law. And I say we because I'm for putting more money in the pockets of Americans. I say we because I am a part of the rising number of people who were sick and tired of the Biden economy, that where inflation was high, government was spending more, regulating businesses out of business. Well, now Make America Great Again means those businesses don't have to worry. Regulations are being cut, taxes are being cut, and of course, liberty is restored and made more localized, because the IRS in Washington, D.C. isn't going to be such a burden on them moving forward. So it's a big day and it's a big win.
Okay, Tim, great to hear your insight today. Thank you so much.
Happy 4th of July. Happy Independence Day.